but who knows? Seedlings look good. It's not milking time yet. Good morning, handsome. Good morning. Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. I have a little bit of a cold, so you're gonna hear that in my voice. I left out this liner to my roasting pan to see how much rain we got. Good morning, Monty. And so this is kind of underneath this awning here that has, I guess it's not really an awning, but the roof of the shed that has a gutter. And I don't think this really got as much rain as we got, but it's probably 6 inches, which is what they forecasted. And what I didn't realize was coming was snow, like immediately after. I knew it was supposed to get colder. We definitely got snow and ice. And believe it or not, the brassicas that I was worried about not surviving the cold the other day, they did survive, but I don't know for how much longer. Because as I mentioned, I'm unable to cover them. I did order some frost fabric just in case, since they did survive that 120-degree night. But who knows, guys? They're at the mercy of this weather, and that's okay. Thus is farm life, right? Good morning, bunnies. You can see where I laid down some more of the pelletized pine bedding. There's one bag here and one bag there. But honestly, compared to when I had first laid it down and it was first trying to rehydrate and get settled, this rabbitry did amazing for how much rain we got yesterday. Actually, there was very minimal of like the river that was coming through here that first time. It is still squishy, and I did still give myself a little drainage trench, but it didn't do too badly in here. So I think that as time goes on and as we build up the floor in here, this is going to work out exactly as I hoped. I mentioned it on my garden video recently, but not everybody watches my gardening content. So just a quick reminder, our land is the low spot in our area. Across the street is higher and on all sides, all 3 sides on our side of the street is higher than our land. So to grade our land isn't really super feasible to dig down. We would just be digging like a literal moat around our barn. It already kind of is a moat. We could grade it out to the ditch, but we already have a spot that drains down near our pond and drops a lot of water into the ditch, and then the ditch overflows into the street. So I don't know what else we can do besides build up the current buildings in order to keep them dry. So that's what we've done in the past, and that has worked, but it does take time. So far, I am pleased with how this is going. And obviously, if it's wet under the rabbits, it doesn't really matter. They're up off the ground. Oh, Winnie. Good morning. Are you out of hay, my girl? So as you can see, I did open up this old milking area to the goats, partially because we do have quite a few leaks in the barn roof on this side. This roof is getting replaced this summer. I am so excited about that. But for now, it does leak, and the bedding on this side of the barn does get wet in quite a few spots. And a wet barn floor is not good for goats for so many reasons, but especially for their hoof health. And when it got really wet and then really cold, it's a bad mix. So I've got some shavings to lay down in here too. In this area though, it's much drier and there are several pallets that they can get up on. And I also opened up all the kidding stalls. So there's quite a lot of space, quite a lot of places that are dry for them to get to, but I still want to kind of dry up the wet places. It's not food. No. Good morning. How are you guys? I brought you some fresh bedding. Feels like just 2 weeks ago I was complaining about how warm it was in February. However, I will say I would rather February be normal. This is a little bit abnormal. We don't normally see single digits in February or days that don't come up above freezing in February, and that is scheduled to come for several days in a row. It's good though, especially for the goats, because with how wet it's been, if it was wet and warm, that's a recipe for disaster with things like coccidia and worms, and I'd rather deal with this than that. Boys, how are you? I know it's kind of cold. Here. It's better. Go. There, come on in. Gollum's letting me touch him, which is great. This little guy, this is Lightning. He's a good boy. He's always let me pet him. There you go. Go on in. There we go. I might not be able to get in here. Oh! Oh, we did it. I love coming in here when there's snow on the top. Magical little cave with lovely green things growing. Let's see how warm it is in here. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of standing water. This is about right for when we get a lot of rain. 35 Fahrenheit. Little seedlings look good. Bless them. Hi, baby girl. It's not milking time yet. So with highs and then wet and then lows like we've been getting, pneumonia is a concern, but I wanted to share something with you that I think would be valuable. I just watched, it was probably 30 minutes long, this video from the ISU Extension Dairy about respiratory disease. I totally nerded out with it. I love things like this, but I learned that really it doesn't necessarily matter so much about the temperature in a barn as far as pneumonia goes, but it matters more about airflow. So as you can see, we've got the east end open on this side and in the rabbitry side. The south end is open. I do have like a half door that I close when we have driving rains or snow coming in this way, but I just opened it because what they said was it's important for air circulation to prevent pneumonia. You don't want that funk to just kind of sit and stagnate and be breathed in by a lot of animals. When it's nasty out, there's a lot of animals in one spot, and that can make things really bad. And so you want the air to circulate out of the space every 15 minutes. It needs to be fresh air. So there is a breeze. We very often have a breeze here that does kind of blow through here, but it's not a bad thing. There's little walls and things for the baby goats to get behind. You can probably clearly see that nobody is under the heat lamps right now. They're doing really well, but I've got to keep an eye on them. I want to make sure they don't have any like runny nose. I don't want any babies to be hunchy. Adults either. I mean, a lot of my does just gave birth, and after a goat gives birth, their immune system kind of takes a hit, so you have to worry about things like worms with them and other kinds of ailments like respiratory disease. How are you, sweet girl? Oof, I'm sorry I scare you. You messy girl. There are a few babies over here under heat lamps. The heat lamps probably aren't even necessary. These babies are all a week old at this point at least, and they're dry and they're active, and so this is kind of just one of those things that makes me feel better. So I'm gonna leave the heat lamps on this week. These are one of the more expensive things for me to run on the homestead though. People often ask about the freeze dryer thinking that that's the more expensive thing to run, but no, each heat lamp costs me about $20 per month to run. So, but it gives me peace of mind. We do still have 2 more pregnant mamas. They are not due until the end of the month. Clover's due February 28th, and Talia, that big white one over there, she is due March 1st, and I think we are supposed to warm up by then. Clover is starting to put quite a bit of milk in that udder though. How you feeling? Yeah, this stuff should be gone by the time you give birth. Thank goodness. As you can see, we raised up the hay feeder so that the baby goats couldn't get in it. So that's nice. The tall girls can get to this feeder, and then this feeder's a little bit lower down where Christine is. And then we've got some shorties over here. See, we've got one that Winnie can reach. So all is well here. I hope you guys are staying dry and warm. I'll see you guys again soon.